Is your salary increasing in keeping with inflation? This article is about the impact of inflation on salaries, since many people are not aware that their salary is not keeping up with the rate of inflation. This article also looks at how people can take action to ensure they are able to purchase goods and services now with, or near, what they were buying 10 years ago. What is inflation? Inflation is the increase in prices of goods and services over a period of time. It can be caused by a number of factors, including increased production, increased demand, or increased availability of money. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, is a measure of inflation that is used by the Federal Reserve to guide monetary policy. The CPI is calculated on a monthly basis and measures the average price change for all goods and services bought by consumers. Why can't we buy the same now and 10 years ago? One of the biggest challenges faced by people today is that their salary does not keep up with inflation. This means that over time, their purchasing power decreases. There are several reasons why this is happening. First, the cost of goods and services has been rising faster than the rate of inflation. This means that the income that people earn doesn't buy as many goods and services as it used to. Second, the value of money has decreased over time. This means that the amount of money that people can spend has decreased. Third, the number of jobs available has been decreasing over time. This means that the amount of money that people can earn per hour has decreased. All of these factors have combined to make it harder for people to buy the same things that they were able to buy years ago. However, there are some ways that people are able to maintain their purchasing power despite these changes. What does inflation make you do? Is your salary increasing in keeping with inflation? The short answer is no, it's not. Your salary actually decreased 2.9% from 2008 to 2017 according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. However, this does not mean that you're not seeing a rise in prices. The cost of goods and services has been on the rise for many years now, and your salary doesn't reflect that increase. What does inflation make you do? Inflation makes you do a lot of things. It makes you pay more for groceries, cars, and other items. It reduces the value of your savings, and it pushes up the cost of college tuition. Unfortunately, these are all things that can have a negative impact on your financial stability. If you're struggling to make ends meet as a result of inflation, there are some steps that you can take to protect yourself. How it affects people and businesses. One of the key factors that businesses and employees look at when deciding whether or not to accept a pay raise is inflation. Inflation is the overall increase in the cost of goods and services in the economy. It can be measured in different ways, but on average, it has been increasing at around 2% annually. As a result, if your salary is based on an hourly wage, it's important to keep track of how much your hourly wage has increased over time in order to make sure you're getting a fair raise. And if your salary is based on a yearly salary, then it's important to keep track of how much your salary has increased in relation to the cost of living. If your salary is based on an hourly wage, it's important to keep track of how much your hourly wage has increased over time. In order to calculate how much your hourly wage has increased over time, divide your current hourly wage by the hourly wage from 1 year ago. For example, if you currently earn $10 per hour and earned $8 per hour 1 year ago, your hourly wage has increased by 20%. To get an idea of how much this 20% increase would add up to in 1 year, divide 20% by 12. This gives us $2.80 per hour, $10 per hour times 12 hours. When you factor in the cost of living adjustment, as explained above, this is actually $3 an hour, which rounds up to $3 an hour since we are dividing by 1. To figure out how much your salary has increased in relation to the cost of living, divide your current annual salary by your annual salary from 1 year ago. Is your salary increasing in keeping with inflation? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average hourly wage rose by 2.9% from April 2016 to April 2017. This means that, on average, workers are earning more money each hour than they did a year ago. However, this increase doesn't correspond with the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which increased by only 1.7% over the same period. So what's going on? The answer is that wages and prices aren't always directly related. The CPI measures changes in prices across various categories of goods and services, but it doesn't take into account changes in wages or salaries. Instead, it tracks the cost of a fixed basket of goods and services. Therefore, when wages rise faster than prices, the CPI will show a smaller increase because it includes more expensive items. Conversely, when wages rise slower than prices, the CPI will show a larger increase because it includes cheaper items. So how is your salary increasing in keeping with inflation? The answer depends on how much your salary is relative to the cost of living. If your salary is relatively low compared to the cost of living, then you'll see a larger increase in your salary because it's rising faster than the price of goods and services, and you won't be all that negatively impacted by the change in prices. If your salary is relatively high compared to the cost of living, then you'll see a smaller increase in your salary because it's rising slower than the price of goods and services. You will be negatively impacted by the change in prices as wages continue to rise faster than prices. Conclusion. Although it might not feel like it, your salary is probably increasing in line with inflation. This means that over time, your take-home pay will increase by the same percentage as the price of goods and services in the economy. While this isn't always a positive thing, your purchasing power is likely decreasing. It's good to know that you're not getting left behind when it comes to earning potential. If you're curious about what your salary has been increasing by on an annual basis, check out our inflation calculator. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.